Alright, so in the previous episode, we learned how to use avoir with the participle passé to form the Passé Composé. And remember, we said that avoir is often used with action verbs, like the verb parler, to speak. So if I wanted to say I spoke, I would say j'ai parlé, meaning I spoke or I have spoken. That's using avoir. If I wanted to say I sang, okay, I say j'ai chanté. Okay, because a there comes from avoir, then chanter is the past participle. Okay, but today our focus. So if you missed that video, just click on the first link in the description. Passé Composé with the auxiliary verb avoir. But today our focus is Passé Composé with the auxiliary verb être. Stick around. Now you should know that the Passé Composé of some particular group of verbs are conjugated with the auxiliary verb être. Okay, and most of these verbs actually are known as movement verbs or state of being verbs. In other words, they could express change of position. Okay, for example, aller. Okay, aller means to go. Okay, so when you go, you change your position. Sortir, to go out. Okay, descendre, and so on and so forth. So that will be our focus today. But two things you need to know: the verb être, when using the verb être to conjugate a verb in the passé composé, one, the past participle, le participe passé, must agree in number and in gender with the subject. Alright, so this is what I mean. So if the subject is female, then you add an e to the past participle. Let's bring that in context. Alright, so the verb aller, okay, the verb aller means to go, and it is a movement verb. Okay, it's considered a movement verb because it has something to do with change of position. Okay, so if I wanted to say I went, okay, I went, because I'm a guy, I'd say je suis allé. Okay, je suis allé without an extra e. But if it was a girl talking, okay, she would still say je suis allé au restaurant. For example, I went to the restaurant. Je suis allé au restaurant. But she's going to add an extra e when writing. Okay, so the same pronunciation, je suis allé for the masculine, but for the feminine, then you say je suis allé. Same pronunciation, but you only need to add an extra e. C'est bon? Alright, so remember, when conjugating a verb in its passé composé using the auxiliary verb être, it has to agree in number and in gender with the subject of the sentence. C'est bon? On peut continuer? D'accord. Now in the plural form, just like you must have guessed, you only need to add an s. So still using aller, if I wanted to say we went to the cinema yesterday, we went to the cinema yesterday, I'd say nous sommes allés, okay? Nous sommes allés au cinéma hier, okay? Nous sommes allés au cinéma hier. Alright, so what this means is we went to the cinema yesterday. So just look at s at the end. Can you guess why there's s at the end of the past participle aller? Yes, because we, okay, I'm referring to we, and apparently when you use we, that means more than one person. Okay, that's why there's an extra s. So don't forget the formula remains the same. Être in the present form, okay, the present tense of être plus the past participle of the verb, okay, of the movement verb, okay, the past participle. So it's good to know that most of the verbs are not actually more than 15, with the exception of some reflexive verbs. Okay, so it's something you could just easily memorize. Okay, so let's look at aller, for instance. Okay, so let's look at how to conjugate aller in its passé composé. Okay, how to say I went, you went, he went, she went. Okay, don't forget the formula, the present tense of the auxiliary verb être, which I believe you must be used to by now. Je suis, tu es, il est, and the rest, the likes. Okay, that's the first thing to do. The first thing you do is to conjugate être in present tense. Okay, the second thing you need to do is to look for the participle passé of the verb. Okay, the past participle of the verb. Oh, and like I said in the previous video, for verbs that ends in er, okay, regular verbs that end in er, like aller, all you need to do is just remove the r, okay, and put an acute accent on the last e. Okay, it's as simple as that. Okay, so just remove the r at the end of the verb, then replace with an acute accent. Okay, and the last thing you need to do, just add it to the already conjugated form of être, and you have your passé composé. Okay, so if you wanted to say I went to the cinema, for instance, if you were a guy, a man, you'd say je suis allé au cinéma. Je suis allé au cinéma. Okay, I went to the cinema. Now, if it was a lady talking, okay, if it was a lady talking, you will need to add an extra e at the end of the past participle aller. Okay, so but this doesn't change the pronunciation. Okay, it's still the same pronunciation, but just the orthograph will change. So je suis allé au restaurant. I went to the restaurant. But if for you, a girl or a woman, a lady talking, then you'd say je suis allé au restaurant. Same pronunciation but different orthography. Okay, c'est bon? All right. Tu es allé. Okay, tu es allé. Same scenario. So if the tu you're referring to is a man, then you don't need to add an extra e. But if the tu refers to a woman, a lady, a girl, even if it's a small girl, then you add an extra e. Okay, il est allé, he went. Il est allé. So when you say il est allé, apparently it can only be a guy. Okay, it can only be a guy of masculine gender. Okay, so il est allé au marché. He went to the market. Il est allé au marché. You don't need to add an extra e. Okay, all right, let's move on. Elle est allée. Okay, for elle est allée, what do you add? You add an e because apparently elle is a feminine gender. Okay, she. Okay, elle est allée à l'église. She went to church. Elle est allée à la mosquée. She went to the mosque. Elle est allée au musée. She went to the museum. Elle est allée à Paris. She went to Paris, et ainsi de suite. C'est bon? All right. Nous sommes allés. Okay. Nous sommes allés. Now, for nous sommes allés, if they are all boys or the mixture of boys and girls, then all you just need to do is to add s. Okay, nous sommes allés, we went. If they are boys and girls, just add an s. But if they are all girls, okay, we. If they are all girls, then what do you need to do? You add an e to the past participle before adding the s. Okay, so nous sommes allés au concert. We went to the concert. Okay, and other examples. Vous êtes allé. Okay, vous êtes allé. Vous êtes allé means you went. Okay, so already you know the difference between vous and tu. Okay, vous is used in formal situations or when you're referring to more than one person, while tu is used in informal situation. You're talking to your friend, your colleague, your family members, and all. Used to, or perhaps you're talking to just one person. Okay, used to. So that's the difference between tu and vous. And do you observe what I said? I said vous êtes. Okay, vous êtes. Okay, so the s, make the liaison, the s with the verb. That's why I'm saying vous êtes and not vous être. C'est bon? Vous êtes allé à Toronto. Did you go to Toronto? Okay, vous êtes allé à Toronto. Did you go to Toronto? All right. So you know why there's an e there. Okay, there's an e because if the person is referring to is feminine, then you add an e. If the person is masculine, then you don't need to add an e. That's why e is in brackets. Okay, s also is in brackets because if the person you're referring to is just one person, someone that you respect, okay, you don't need to add s. But if you're using vous as a plural, then you will add s. C'est bon? Alright. Ils sont allés. Ils sont allés. They went. Okay, so because this is masculine, you only add s. Okay, ils sont allés. They went. Elles sont allées, because they are all girls. Elles sont allées, you add an E with an S. Alors, jusqu'ici, c'est bon? Alright, bravo. Now, it's also worthy to note that most of these verbs have irregular past participles. Okay, so I'm going to give you a list of those verbs now. Okay, so it's going to be easy for you. The first verb is aller. Okay, aller, and the past participle of aller is still aller. You just remove the R and you put an acute accent on the last E. Okay, parti, parti means to leave. Okay, and just like every IR verbs, to get the past participle, just remove the R. Okay, so just remove the R and you have your past participle. Okay, before I continue, don't forget the formula. Formula is the conjugated form of être in the present tense. Okay, je suis, tu es, il est, elle est, you know the rest as is appeared on the screen, and the past participle. So all you need to do is to add the past participle to the already conjugated form of être in present tense. Okay, all right, let's move on. So aller, c'est aller. Parti, c'est parti. The next one is sorti. Okay, sorti, as you must have guessed, the past participle is still sorti. Okay, sorti. All you need to do is to just remove the R. Next one is descendre. Okay, descendre. And for RE verbs, verbs that end in RE, all you need to do is just remove the RE and replace with a U. Okay, so descendre, the past participle of descendre is descendu. Okay, next verb, tomber. Tomber means to fall, and all you need to do, just like every ER verb, you remove the R and you put an acute accent on the E. Okay, remove the R and put an acute accent on the E. Okay, so same pronunciation, tomber. Okay, tomber. Next one is rester. Okay, rester means to stay. Okay, and just like we did with tomber, just remove the R and replace it with an acute accent. So you put the acute accent on top of E. C'est bon? Alright, so the next one is venir. Okay, venir means to come. Venir, and the past participle is venu. Venu. Okay, so this doesn't have a formula. You just need to learn by heart. Okay, so venir, the past participle is venu. Arriver. Okay, arriver means to arrive. No, to come back, to arrive, and just remove the R and replace with an acute accent on E. Okay, arriver. We also have monter, like I said, monter, to climb. Okay, just remove the R, replace with an E. Okay, and the E we have an acute accent. Okay, just like this. Entrer, as you must have guessed, means to enter. Okay, so just remove the R, replace with an acute accent. Rentrer, same thing. Entrer is entrer. Retourner, to return or to come back. Okay, same formula. Remove the R, replace with an acute accent on the last E. Okay, revenir means to come back. Okay, revenir, and the past participle of revenir is revenu, to come back. Okay, same thing with devenir. Okay, devenir. So can you guess the past participle of devenir? If revenir is revenu, what's the past participle of devenir? Bravo, devenu. Okay, devenu, and it means to become. Devenu means to become. Devenu means became. Okay, c'est bon. And next one, mourir. Okay, so this one have irregular. It has an irregular past participle. Mourir, even though it ends in IR, you don't just remove the R. The past participle, just learn by heart, is mort. Okay, mort. Okay, par exemple, il est mort en France. He died in France. Okay, il est mort en France. But if it was a lady that died, a woman, they say elle est morte. Okay, elle est morte. You know why? Okay, you add E to the past participle if the subject is female. Okay, agreement. Okay, so mourir, the past participle is mort. The same thing as to be born, naître. Okay, naître, the past participle is né. Okay, that's why if I ask you, tu es né quand? When were you born? Tu es né quand? Then you tell me, je suis né. So you don't say j'ai né. Okay, you don't use avoir. Okay, So you say, je suis né, I was born. Then you tell me, je suis né le 9 novembre. Okay, I was born the 9th of November, and so on. Okay, but if it was a lady talking, when you're writing, you add an E to the past participle né. C'est bon? Alright, so let's look at some examples. Nous sommes revenus du théâtre. Nous sommes revenus du théâtre. Ils sont descendus par l'escalier. Ils sont descendus par l'escalier. Elles sont revenues de vacances mardi. Elles sont revenues de vacances mardi. When they came back from the holiday, the vacation on Tuesday. Elles sont revenues de vacances mardi. Ma voiture est tombée en panne près de Madrid. Ma voiture, my car, est tombée en panne, got faulty, develop a fault, près de Madrid, close to Madrid. Okay? Alright, so it's as simple as that, but you should also know that the verb être is also used with reflexive verbs to form the Passé Composé. Okay, but this will be treated in a separate video. But let me just give you one or two examples. So if you wanted to say I had my bath or I woke up, okay, the verb to wake up is se réveiller. Okay, se réveiller. Then to get up is se lever. So if you wanted to say I got up at 6:30, I got up at 6:30, then you simply say je me suis levé. Je me suis levé. I got up à 6h30 or 6h30. Okay, but if you want to say I woke up, then you say je me suis réveillé. Okay, so don't worry, I'm going to cover this in a separate video, but do you understand? So key points from this video: être is used with movement verbs. When I say movement, but it means verbs that indicate or express a change of position. Okay, like tomber, like aller, sortir, partir, or state of being verbs like rester, to stay, devenir, to become, mourir, to die, naître, to be born, and others. Okay, and I mentioned that when using être to conjugate a verb in the passé composé, it must agree a number and a gender with its subject it qualifies. Okay, so the past participle must agree number and a gender with the subject of the sentence. Okay, all right, so if you understood that, can you do the following activities and drop your answers in the comment section and be sure to check them out. Alors, merci beaucoup d'avoir suivi cette vidéo et on se retrouve à très bientôt.